Hi everyone. I hope you're all having a very Merry Christmas. Today I'm gonna read you chapter 8 of my book, Wildmoore, Wrath of Zane. Hope you enjoy. Chapter 8, Being a Lionheart. Back at the Shadowy Rock Palace, Zane sat in his chair as another plan to attack began to form in his head until he remembered something. The day after the attack at Forest Grove, he went to proceed with an attack on the Lion Realm, and he, as well as men, had murdered half of the large pride of lions. Whether it was the lionesses, cubs, and the male lions at their path, leaving only those who survived the massacre to go into hiding. That was when Zane hatched this sinister plan involving the existing lions of the realm. But this time, due to Maurice's incompetence, he would have to carry this plan out himself. Morning arose in the village, and the warriors, knights, wolves, Fourthwind, and Natalie all woke up to travel to the Lion realm, next to see if the lions had witnessed signs of the dark warlocks in their area. The group headed northwest to the realm, which was a very grassy but quiet and barren area. So even trying to sight a lion was rare. Natalie walked by with Fourthwind and Barlow. And Barlow, after listening to Natalie's wonderful bedtime story, decided to stick by her side and be her wolf companion, like how his father was Thomas's companion. Curious about the realm they were heading to, Natalie asked, "So, what's the story behind the Lion Realm?" The Lion Realm is a separate kingdom of Wildmoore. It used to have many prides of lions and would often help the forest knights and warriors for anything involving the dark warlocks' sinister activities. When the attack happened 13 years ago, the pride's population was severely cut in half, and lions would no longer assist the warriors or knights, fearing they would lose more of their kind. Fourthwind explained with a saddening look in his eyes. "These guys are ruining everyone's lives now," Natalie thought to herself, with Fourthwind's explanation weighing heavily on her heart. "And the lions that survived the attack?" Natalie asked. "They all went into hiding in custom-made caves made entirely out of large mountain rocks. They would only come out if one of their kind is in danger, but nothing else," Barlow pointed out, looking up at his human friend. "Now we need to make sure that they were safe in case Zane and his men ever attacked them again," Madeline said, not making eye contact with them. Natalie could tell Madeline was upset about something, and asked her, "Do you ever smile?" Madeline annoyingly looked over at the 13-year-old girl and said, "I only smile when I'm happy. But that was a long time ago, so this is not any of your business." The group reached the realm, and as expected, there was not a single soul. Only large mountain rocks formed as caves. Natalie could only see lion-shaped shadows inside the caves, but also the sullen faces of those losing their loved ones, similar to the looks on the villagers' faces back in Paulwood. However, Natalie couldn't help but have a bad feeling in her bones that something terrible was going to happen, and it didn't take long for that feeling to be right. Suddenly, a black cloud appeared in a poof, and quickly disappeared to reveal Zane wearing his signature cloak, and the menacing look on his face alone made Natalie feel uneasy, certainly understanding the stories that Fourthwind had told her were true. The warriors immediately drew their bows, and Amelia shouted, Zane of the Dark Warlock, surrender at once. Zane slowly turned around to face the group and said with a sinister tone that sent a chill down Natalie's spine. I will not surrender until the child destined to destroy me is dead, starting with these lions. Suddenly, he pointed his staff and said an incantation in a foreign language that Natalie couldn't understand. But a dark cloud seeped from the staff and began to enter the caves, causing the lions to bellow in horror and rush out of the caves. Zane saw this as his chance to use another spell, this time to poison the pride and leave them for dead. The warriors fired their arrows towards the unsaintly warlock, but Zane used his staff to magically vaporize the arrows heading his way. He turned his attention back to the lions, who were all huddled in fear, which gave Zane the ultimate satisfaction he desired. He then replied, preparing to cast the poison spell. Time to rid these scaredy cats from my... Zane didn't finish his sentence when he felt a force push him from his back. The force was a light beam that came from Natalie's necklace. Not knowing what came over her, Natalie rushed up to the scene, but only 10 feet away from Zane because she already knew what this man was capable of. The warlock viciously turned around to face the girl. And aside from being angry that his spell was interrupted, he also looked like he had seen a ghost. You look just like your mother, Zane stuttered. Natalie thought this was an insult and spat back. You didn't know anything about my mother, jerk. Zane was taken aback by the girl's words, but quickly recovered when he snarled, You dare speak to a dark warlock that way, you wench? Do the words, "is a free country," mean anything to you? Natalie retorted. Madeline whispered to her sister, This girl is mad. She is practically asking for a death wish from this horrid man. Amelia whispered, Madeline, relax. I think this is how she fights in her world, with words and wit. Zane pointed his staff at the girl and snarled again. Those words do not exist in this world. Many knew that the Dark Warlocks ruled this land and dictated who lives and who dies. Natalie rolled her eyes in annoyance and replied, Well, actually, a king and queen rule this land, so you're nothing important to these people. And if you don't want to get blasted again, I suggest you take your stick and go. I don't take demands from a child, especially from a pathetic mundane like yourself. Zane said, but Natalie was unfazed and replied, your bullying tactics aren't that impressive. Where I'm from, someone tried many things to put me down, but even she failed to break me, so you're no different from her. Silence, you wench! Zane shouted, and his staff glowed so his spell could directly hit Natalie, but the crystal on her necklace glowed as well, and the beam counteracted Zane's spell. Unbeknownst to Natalie, the beam got stronger based on her immense courage. Finally, the magic from Zane's staff depleted, causing Zane to look at the girl in shock, while Natalie only stared at him with deadly, serious glare. If you don't want me to kick your butt again, I suggest you leave. Natalie sneered. Fine. But I will return to attack once more, and this time, you won't have your army to assist you, Zane threatened. And with a snap of his fingers, a black cloud shrouded him. And within a second, the cloud disappeared, and Zane along with it. Natalie stood in shock for a moment until she saw the lion slowly recovering from the attack, but still feeling weary. Natalie was about to approach them to see if they were okay, but one lion jumped in front of them and snarled, Stay away from them, girl! The lion was a beautiful male with a luxurious chestnut brown mane, but had piercing light blue eyes and sandy blonde fur. Natalie could see that this lion was clearly the leader of the pride, and he looked at her angrily. But she understood why he felt this way. He was trying to protect his pride. And he still felt as though she would also pose a threat. When Amelia saw this, she marched over and said, "Asher, the girl means no harm. She's with us. It doesn't change the fact that she is a stranger, whether she temporarily defeated Zane or not. You need to leave. All of you." Asher, the leader of the pride, demanded. "Seriously? This is the thanks I get for saving your life?" Natalie tried to say, but Asher just snarled, "Silence, girl. You're not from this world. So it is quite obvious that you are in league with those horrid men." "How does me defeating Emperor Palpatine I am in league with him and his men?" "None of that makes any sense to me," Natalie tried to point out. But Asher was adamant and shouted, "You probably pretended to defeat Zane in order to trick us. And if you and your friends do not leave, I will make you into my lunch." Thomas stepped in and shouted, "That's enough, Asher. Look, you're not the only one with reservations about Natalie, but I can assure you that this girl is not in league with those men. And she does not have a single malicious bone in her body. And the necklace she possesses contains a powerful ability to create light. This girl may be the answer to defeat the warlocks. She certainly does not dress like all of you, so it is all the more reason why I do not trust her," Asher roared. Natalie rolled her eyes and thought to herself in annoyance, "Story of my life." "That is because she's from human Earth, Father," a voice finally replied. Everyone, including Asher, turned to face a young male lion approaching the group. The lion had a dark blonde mane, sea green eyes, and his fur was as white as snow. I remember Mother had told me stories about the human Earth, and it was quite fascinating that there were lions from her world so different from us. It's highly doubtful that a mundane like her would mean harm." The young lion replied. "Tristian, this girl could be dangerous if she's from another world. And who knows if the warlocks were the ones that summoned her here," Asher said to his son, his anger unwavering. "Would it kill you to stop jumping to conclusions about me, cowardly lion?" Natalie said, getting tired of the leader making assumptions about her. But her nickname for him just made Asher angrier, and he snarled, Never call me a coward again, girl. If you and your friends know what's good for you, leave our land at once." Natalie, Fourth Wind, Madeline, Amelia, Thomas, and the rest of the group all looked defeated. So Natalie said, "Fine. Have it your way. But if you want to help us fight against Lord Voldemort and his Dementors, our offer still stands. If not for us, then fight for the ones you lost 13 years ago. I would not hold my breath. And my pride and I will certainly not serve with the likes of an evil little wench like you," Asher snarled. Feeling defeated, Natalie, Thomas, Madeline, and Amelia all walked back to the Knights, Warriors, and Fourth Wind before proceeding their way back to Paulwood Village. Natalie turned back to see Tristian stare back at her with interest, but also sincerity. She wondered if he would be any different from his father, but the last thing she wanted was to hope for something that won't happen. So she broke her gaze from the lion and walked on. Back at the village, where the group had returned, Natalie sat near the fire pit with Barlow and Fourth Wind in tow. She was still fuming after what Asher had said to her. That lion had the audacity to accuse her of being an ally to the Dark Warlocks, while she had just saved him and his pride. So much for trying to convince those lions I'm one of the good guys, huh? Natalie said. You shouldn't have paid any attention to those cowards. They were just afraid of you because they do not understand you, Fourth Wind advised. They probably never met anyone from the human Earth before, which I think is rather fascinating, Barlow said, wagging his tail with happiness. Natalie couldn't help but smile at Barlow. She never would have thought she would receive words of support from a sweet little wolf pup. However, she also couldn't help but wonder if what Asher said was right. Is she more of a hinder than some help? If so, does she even belong in this world at all? Suddenly, she heard a thundering roar and screams of panic from the villagers, as well as a myriad of footsteps. Natalie got up from her feet with serious alarm. She turned to Amelia, who walked over, and Natalie asked the forest warrior, Amelia, what's going on? One of the lions from the lion realm came to the village. Amelia said with her bow and arrow held tight in her fist, prepared to fight. While the villagers ran back to their cottages and locked their doors, the knights and warriors prepared to fight whatever rogue lion had come to the village. However, Natalie saw a familiar lion stopping completely in his tracks and let out another thundering roar. It was Tristian. Natalie rushed from behind the group of forest warriors and knights and stood in front of the majestic lion. Tristian stopped roaring when he saw the girl standing before him. Madeline shouted, Natalie, move out of the way! Amelia raised her hand and placed it on her sister's shoulder before she replied, Madeline, let her go. I want to hear and see this. Tristian walked up to Natalie and said, loud enough for the whole village to hear, Natalie of Human Earth, I wish to help you stop the Dark Warlocks and serve as your champion until you have victory. Natalie was taken aback by his response, especially after everything his father had said. What does your father have to say about you helping us? He might put you in exile if you found out you defied him. Natalie replied, then so be it. Natalie of Human Earth. I would rather help protect this world from future danger caused by the Dark Warlocks than stay in the Lion Realm and die after waiting for someone to do something. I cannot let this world suffer from those horrid men again. So please, let me assist you, the warriors, and the knights in order to do so. Tristian said, his glistening eyes staring into hers. Natalie didn't know much about the lions in this world so far, except for how Asher reacted. However, she could see everything Tristian had said was sincere and true. The girl turned back to see what the knights and warriors would say or do next. Luckily, she got an answer when Thomas gestured for his men to stand down. And Amelia did the same with the forest warriors. Natalie turned back to Tristian and said to him, you will help us stop those psycho wizards. And if you want to go back to your realm after deciding it's too much, you'll be free to do so. Tristian just chuckled and replied, I stand by my word to help you, Natalie of Human Earth. I will never dare to abandon my word now. Natalie was surprised by the lion's chivalry as well as his honesty. It was clear to her that Tristian meant his words. It was not willing to back out on his word. And if it meant disobeying his father, then that was a chance he was willing to make. All right, that's chapter 8, and sorry about my cat making so much noise. I hope you all have a safe and very Merry Christmas, and stay tuned for chapter 9. Bye!